Hello and welcome to Common Cues. Today's topic is somewhat controversial. We're going to talk about sex without strings attached and explain why Muslim women don't find it empowering. For much of civilized world, marriage was a given for years, but at some point in history, our thought process and behavior started to change. There came a period of sexual liberation in which the question, who should I marry, gave place to who needs official paper to prove love. Men were told that they need to be more crafty than committed to get the girl, and women were told that they don't need to be reserved, especially when it comes to sex. They were told they should express themselves and practice the freedom many men already practiced. The freedom in finding a mate, not for life, but for the night. Meanwhile, many religious women were looked down upon as outdated, uptight, etc., just because they refused to participate in this practice. Now, these women didn't necessarily know better than others. They simply trusted that their belief system is superior to the trends. But after years and many studies and experiences later, today we know that they were onto something all along. What many today perceive as the reason behind women being more reserved in terms of sexual activity is a male-dominated culture and desire to control. A kind of jealousy, if you may, that men have and practice over women by limiting their sexual partners. And somehow, as usual, men of Middle Eastern or Arab origin are pointed to as the main culprits. But what these theories fail to acknowledge is that most social phenomena does not result from a single factor, that there are reasons behind various taboos, albeit not always good reasons. Take male and female desires, for instance. Many scientists consider our desires as a means to contribute to our survival. One of what they call our evolutionary desires is the desire to reproduce. Biologically speaking, the burden of reproduction is far heavier on women than on men. The period of reproduction, for instance, is far shorter in women than in men. As a result, by engaging in casual and meaningless sexual relationships, women who have the natural desire to reproduce are more likely to suffer than men by losing time and opportunity. They also have more reason to be choosy than men in their partner, because if women's relationship with a man that they don't perceive as suitable for a lasting relationship leads to the conception of a child, it's the woman who will have to put up with the bearing with over 8 months of difficult pregnancy, and then possibly suffer the lack of commitment the men may show. Because the man can simply walk away and not even find out that his sexual encounter has resulted in anything at all. So if our natural desires have anything to do with our evolutionary needs, it's not in women's best interest to take it easy and go with the flow. And not simply because of patriarchy, because in the end, it takes far more time and energy from a woman than it takes from a man. And if anything, various studies have shown the natural difference in attitudes of men and women towards sex. The end goal of sex for men, for instance, is shown to be orgasm plus pleasing their partner, and the end goal for women is shown to be intimacy and emotional closeness to their partners, as well as feeling sexually desired by them. When we consider all these factors, we realize the wisdom in practices of Abrahamic religions like Islam, namely in limiting sex to the confines of a marriage. In this way, men are made to commit to a relationship where their needs to be met, despite the lack of biological limits on their part. And women are more likely to be guaranteed a lifetime of commitment and support, despite their more demanding nature. And in case you're a guy who's disappointed in the odds not being in your favor, let me refer you to the studies that show married men are more likely to live longer and less likely to suffer a host of diseases such as cardiovascular ones. So on the surface, it may seem that women's sexuality is undermined or that these religions are too restrictive for men with less confined desires, but as the research shows, the result for both men and women is happily ever after.